type in your questions in the chat and we'll try to answer them. Some questions may be behind NDAs, so not all questions can be answered, or we may just simply run out of time today. If so, drop your questions in the comments.
Who you had before, because you had Talon filled in beforehand, remember?
No. You auditioned for Talon and you were like, I think what it was, and I'll just to kind of pick up a little bit at the tail end of that. But we had one person, Joni Machado, who auditioned for Talon. And she was, you inched her out. Just an inch.
I was a big proponent for Joe. Just gonna go ahead and say that. I was a big fan for Joe. I was like, this is perfect.
yes, for sure. A lot of people were like, yeah, no. Josephine?
It's gonna be Joe.
It's gonna be Joe. And so, but there was a lot of folks who really liked Johnny Machado. And we ended up casting her as Darth Malati.
Yeah.
And she fell into that perfectly. Like a duck to water, man.
Yeah. Especially
honestly,
go ahead.
Honestly, the only thing that I wanted, not gonna lie, was Talon. And so when I heard, it's like, oh, I think we already got Talon filled, so we probably gonna have you audition for Melody. I'm like, oh no. But I still want in, so I'll do it. And then when you said, "Oh, actually,"
the moment we heard you, from the moment we heard you, we were like, "Yeah, that was it." But for some, we were just sold on that. But we also recognized the talent that Johnny brought, and we were like, "Okay, we can't let her go."
She's got this perfect slight
Russian,
Eastern European, very slight Eastern European that's just like, it drips Sith.
And there's something about the way on her delivery, there's a seriousness to it, but it's still very hidden, it's she has a she's mysterious, that's the word.
Kind of a dick.
Yes, kind of a dick. Yep.
You know what I mean? And then it's so funny because we hop out of we'll hop out of rehearsals or we'll hop out, and then she's like, I'm from Middle America. I like potatoes and bacon and all that stuff. I'm like, Johnny, what the fuck is this? What was it? It was like a potato and mayonnaise festival or something going on in her town. Do you remember that?
I remember that actually. She tweeted about it too.
Yeah, it was like a potato and mayo festival. She's great.
Okay.
Funny.
We have started the Q&A, guys. So send in your questions. Let me know, and I'll highlight them on here. Send me the questions.
So, blooper reel happening, right? Post-production.
Of course. Of course. We need to get through. We need to get through all of the lines because there's so many we still need to get through, edit, and
feel the weight of Chris's work as he's saying these things.
Yeah.
There is so much to do. It's like, oh god,
it's so much. I mean, we come up with little bits, right? And we've published some of the little ones, like the one where it was X and Johnny. And they were in rehearsal, and Johnny, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she drops into like this real Southern accent, and then you get X. Remember this X? And you were like, "Is that a Petaluna accent?"
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And they start talking in like the accent, and we're just like,
Maya, what are you talking about there?
We were still recording. Crazy. Was like, this is gold.
This is gold.
That was like the most beautiful thing about this whole experience is like, dude, we had so much fun doing this.
Yeah.
It was so fun. Never felt like work at any point ever.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. And it was just a lot of fun.
And it's just a great learning experience because Maria really does things in the whole like process of it, which I have never seen, nor have I ever heard of it. So I was just like, this is legit. And I'm sorry for my language, but holy shit. I was just like, I printed every copy and I literally still have it on my table because I'm just like, I know these are supposed to be drafts, but I'm gonna frame them.
There's no way I could work with another director other than Maria because they wouldn't put up with my shit.
They probably would
Maria has definitely spoiled us. Just the ability to hop into the art meetings and the corroborate, whatever the word is.
Oh,
on
yes.
some of the scripts. That doesn't happen.
No.
In voice work, you get the script, you record your lines, you send them in, and you don't hear anything until the project is posted. It's like,
it's like that
I
for
remember
physical
that. That
acting.
was
Ask Vince. Like it's like that for physical acting. Vince, right? Am I right? You'll be filming, and you'll have film days for 3-4 weeks or whatever, and then you're done, and then you just don't hear anything else until it's press time, right? Which is where you are right now, right? Trying to.
Yeah, no, it's been a. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been a real pleasure. It's been like a breath of fresh air being able to be so connected with every aspect of the project, and it just kind of feels like a family. And I think that actually pulls better performances and work out of everybody. So yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah. All right, we've got our first question comes in from Nathaniel River. With more Star Wars content coming, any other new characters you'd consider adding?
He wants to keep up your plans, Maria.
I know, right? He wants to get deep. Well, and I kind of hinted at this before, so I'm not afraid to like really go there. Ginger. Yes. I definitely have plans for Cal Kestis to make an entrance in episode 11. He will be very old because of the timelines. Okay. And so, he will be in his 70s, and he will be there with, he's basically a Grand Master Jedi at this point.
I'd be the last living survivor of Order 66 at that point.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think that's super interesting, right?
Yeah.
And to have him actually be physically present, because of course, we have Luke, we have Anakin, we have all the Force ghosts, right? But we to have actually someone be physically present and physically taking the lead and helping Anakin to like mold, everybody, I think is just super, super interesting. And the fact that, we bring him in and he is a Grand Master Jedi and he is married, right? Which I know Kings is going to kill me. Kings is going to be like, no. Right? But yes, to bring him in and have him be married, he is married to Marin at this point in my story anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah. But being able to also play around with the Night Sisters and the Night Sister powers and be able to make them actually make sense. That's a challenge I was willing to take. So there is some of that coming. And we'll see some of that, possibly Nathaniel in the TV series. There might be some episodes where he comes in, but there is certainly plans for. You have to also remember that this trilogy, the essential key element of this trilogy is to pass the baton, right? And to pass it on from Ben and Rey over into a new generation of Skywalkers, right? And to really dive into that and to do that in a way that not only makes sense, but respects George Lucas's work and also doesn't discount all of the fans, because we do have a lot of Star Wars sequel fans. They get to be included in that with us. I really feel like that's where we can meet everybody on an even playing field. And, it's going to be in the future. It's never going to be about the past, right? Like we're never going to agree, but we can agree on a future that has a baton that's been properly passed. So there's always going to be new characters and things like that. So, and we will definitely be putting out, when we do have new characters and stuff like that, we'll definitely be putting up call sheets, casting calls. Sorry, call sheets. I have that in my head. Casting calls out on Casting Call Club, Backstage, IMDb. We use all
unless I get there first.
We use all of the tools. We do offer up new roles to anybody that So we take care of our extras very well here as well. So like if there's a role that opens up, I will let our extras audition for that first exclusively, so that we can bump them up into main cast. So we do that quite a lot here. So we take care of anybody that's an extra. So we'll look at those folks, but also anybody that maybe their character has died, like dead, like really dead, right? And we'll offer them those first dibs first. But anything else beyond that gets put on our website, and you'll be sure to see those on there.
Dibs on playing Chewbacca's wife.
Chewbacca's wife. I think you're gonna have to fight Susan for that one. She wants.
What is her name? I can't remember her name.
Maz Kanata? No.
Yeah.
No. Oh my god, I'm leaving. I'm out. I'm done.
And always King's Advisors has the next question. He's like, what did it mean to each person to be able to add something to this universe that has meant so much to each of you? We'll start with Chris.
Wow, that's a good question. Me to add, be able to add something to this universe that meant so much to me. Well, I mean, because when I first found this project, I stumbled upon it on Casting Call Club. I was looking for things to audition for, and I just kind of stumbled across it and was like, "Oh, Star Wars! I'll have a look." And when I found it, the only character that was left the open audition still was Lando Calrissian, and I was like, well, I can't do that. I just can't do Lando Calrissian.
You would have been great.
It's like I clearly cannot do Lando Calrissian. I just can't pull off that smoother kind of voice. And so, but then I looked further down and I was like, oh, I was looking for audio engineer, sound designer, Foley artist. I was like, there's something I could apply for. And so I went in for it thinking, just the typical voiceover thing, send and forget.
Yes.
And when I ended up getting the role, I was like, oh my God, I'm working in a job where I can...
Yes. Darn it, like, I actually got it.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God. No, I really have to work hard because I really have to do absolutely everything I can to mimic those sounds as best as I can.
Yeah. When did you realize you bit more than you could chew?
I still think that has to come.
He's chewing.
When he starts having to edit,
pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, I start learning something else every day, and it's like every time I approach one of the sounds that I need to make, I'll do an initial rough edit, and I'll put it onto our network, our teams, and see what people think, and then get some feedback and go, okay, I'll make these changes, make some more changes, and then put a second and a third, and basically just the each of the sounds that are really important that I need to get perfected, I keep getting the feedback on until I get the thumbs up from everybody and go, okay, right, you're all happy with that, I'm happy with it, and we can move on to something else. And it's just been a real pleasure and real honor to be able to do something for a franchise that I have loved for as long as I can remember. It's amazing.
Yeah. And X, how about you? I mean, we're gonna end this show with your Star Wars theme. So...
Oh God. Yeah, it's super weird. So, I spend every day surrounded by Star Wars. My Star Wars room is my office. It's my YouTube channel. It's everything I do. I've loved these stories since I was just knee-high to a grasshopper. I've loved them forever. So, in any capacity, whether it's, a fan film like this or a $1 billion movie, it really doesn't matter. Just being a part of it is what makes me super freaking happy. And the fact that I get to be the prime dickhead out of anybody is just like, it's so incredible. And especially like, it's when I stop to think about it, it scares the shit out of me that like I have to try to embody one of the coolest characters to ever exist in Star Wars. That scares the crap out of me.
It's like trying to embody Revan, right? Like
yeah, like what do you do? And then you just dig really deep down and you're like, man, if I just was the biggest dick on the planet, how would I act? And it turns out every man has the capacity to do that. So I just dug right down into that part and I was like, run with it and let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So it's been, it's been incredible, listening to obviously my other, my everybody in the cast and the amazing talent that they bring. There are people who are just absolutely incredibly talented working on this movie. And then beyond that, Chris with the sound, and then obviously Vince with the music and everything that's going on. There are so many different moving cogs, and like just to be one tooth in that gear is fucking awesome. Excuse my French, but like it's just so cool. Yeah. And I legitimately I cannot wait to see this thing come to life. And I have to wonder, like, is this what like a Hollywood actor feels like when they're, they do their small bit, and then at some point in like a year and a half or 2 years, that shit's on screen.
Right.
And you're like, oh, that's what the whole thing was? Like, holy shit, that's like I never imagined. Yeah.
Vincent can tell you that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. So I've had way too much fun. I've met way too many good people. The whole experience has been incredible. And holy shit, I'm in a Star Wars project.
There you go.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes. And Sharon, sorry. Go ahead, Josephine.
I was just like, when you said that you found it intimidating, I literally, that's my first initial thought, because it's so intense to play someone so very, very bad. And I don't know about you, Ross, but I try to be a good person 24/7. No, I'm kidding.
I try.
To try, not very hard, but I try.
No, but it's me personally with Talon. Honestly, when I because like I've read the comics, and obviously she manifests so much confidence and energy, and like I own the world kind of thing. That the really interesting thing about even auditioning for her, she never appeared anywhere on any of the major works. She's not there, which baffles my mind, because how could you hide someone like her who is very forward like that? And so being able to even play her, because I've always loved her concept and her character, it's just like I have to be probably one of the first to put emphasis on what and how she would sound and how she would play and how she would act and all these things that has absolutely no reference. And in some cases it's a great thing, because nobody compares or copies or all that stuff. But in another sense, it's so fucking intimidating. Sorry, excuse my French. And I've always been kind of like this, which is like happy and just kind of like super excited about everything. And so when I got the news and I got the email, I'm like, I kid you not, I screamed. I didn't swear. I just ran around the house going, and all my family members says, what's going on? I'm like, I'm gonna be on Star Wars.
Yes.
Like I went on an Oscar on them. Like, thank you so much.
And I just want to cut in and say, I just want to cut into that and say, we have Red Sun here. Red Sun is our Yoda. I've never met a better Yoda.
Incredible
honestly.
Yoda.
Incredible Yoda. And I do want to give a little shout out to Vincent Catalina. He did message me and said he's going to have to skedaddle out of here soon. So we'll let him go. But Sharon, let's finish with you, and let's just say, what is it like for you to be on this project? How does it feel?
Well, first off, ditto to everything X and Joe have said.
Yes.
I'm in a real Star Wars. Oh my God. My family was never much for going to movies. So Empire Strikes Back was the first film I ever saw in a theater. I went with my brother and his friends, and I was the little sister tag along. And I was so in love. So when Return of the Jedi came out, I begged my dad, because the theater that was in my hometown was third run. So let's, backtrack a little for you youngins who don't know what that means. You had first run theaters that got films when they were released, and then second run, after it had been 6 months in the first run theaters, it would go to the second run. And when everybody had forgotten about it, then it would go to the third run theaters. So, it was great. There was no line to get in. But, that's where I went, my tiny little hometown theater. And I was not going to do that again. So when Return of the Jedi came out, I begged my dad, please, 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 we've got to see this, because I wasn't driving yet. We had to go across state lines. We got there. The line went around the block.
What?
And we just, we were able to get a seat. And my dad's a very stoic person. God rest his soul. Love him to pieces, but this was not his genre. Okay. Right. He was, Sunday school teacher, good, stalwart, faithful man.
Yeah.
And he took me to see Return of the Jedi.
Let's go.
And, I was in the theater like,
yes.
So as we left, I said, Dad, what'd you think? It was different.
You know what? That's great. That's fine. That's awesome.
And you know what?
We'll take that.
To now have it come so many years later to be a part of it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is real. I can't believe I'm going to get paid to be in Star Wars and have this much fun.
Yep. Yes.
And can I just give a hat tip to the art department? Their work, just jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
To watch AJ during the breakdown with his sketches.
It doesn't make sense to me. The first time she brought me in, I'm like, is he doing that live? Is that like live?
And I'm like, that's live.
That's like,
that's live. No, storyboard's live. Yep.
Incredible. Like you would expect somebody like that to be at like Marvel or something, as they're making like they are drawing detailed scenes as people are talking about it. I can't make a fucking smiley face.
And then we had Velmari, who's doing animation. And I'd worked with Velmari before on a motion comic. To see him doing this, which is so much richer and more full. It's like, wow, dude, you were wasted on those comics. You are too good for that.
Yeah.
Incredible talent. All packed into this tiny little awesome tuna can, man. I'm so excited.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll finish with a question from DWJ Grinwald. It is. Okay. I have to say it's a very unique last name, so it must be.
The cat has a computer.
The cat has a computer. It would say Darth.
Well, yes, it's actually Darth Kidius in the next room.
There are rumors that Disney may sell the Star Wars franchise in order to raise cash to meet contractual commitments they made with Comcast for Hulu. If so, how would that affect this project? Zero. Would not affect this project at all, because this is a fan
and they're
film.
not selling Star Wars.
And they're not selling Star Wars.
Whoever put the freaking thing out there that George Lucas is going to buy Star Wars back, go have a cup of coffee.
Did you see him at Indy? Come on. He's
on not buying it back. You guys are out of your minds. Whoever's saying that.
He literally needed help to get off the stage. He's not in any condition.
No, but you can run Lucasfilm from a wheelchair. That's not the problem. Like the whole reason he sold it was to get away from it, so he could do whatever the hell else he wanted.
To do right, and also just there's just too much money at stake. And Disney has way too many things that would require licensure that they don't have to pay anymore because they own Star Wars. I can't imagine them seeing
too much stuff. It's an ugly mess.
I mean, imagine having to pay licensure for Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, you've got parks already built. You've got loads of merch lines, stuff going on with Marvel Comics. There's, stuff that's going on with Hasbro. It's too muddy.
It's way. And they would never sell that. They're never going to sell Marvel. They're never going to sell Star Wars. And I was talking about this a little bit with Kings last night. Disney Entertainment is the biggest entertainment company in the world.
In the world. Yeah.
Like in the world, bro. Like honestly, out of the top 10 grossing films of all time, they own 8. That kind of footprint, there's just no way that this, like, you talk about too big to fail, right? There's
$4 billion wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they could probably lose $10 billion a year and still be okay. I mean, so I'm not worried about them needing cash. Are they needing cash? Yes, they are. They're not doing well financially, but it's never been a better time to put Bob Iger at the top. That's for sure. Listen, Bob Iger is terrible for Star Wars, but amazing for Disney.
What? The bottom line is, dude, the parks are always going to be the one that makes the money. Parks are always going to be the one that make the money. But when you have 207 in working capital, you run into an issue. So the only theoretical, plausible, could happen, maybe somewhere in the stars somewhere, is that essentially Apple could ascertain an entertainment division of Disney, i.e. Lucasfilm, and leave it still essentially run by Disney.
Yeah.
You leave everything in place. So when people are like, oh my God, it's going to sell, guess what? Nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
Yeah.
The money just goes to a different account.
And I mean, people have to understand, I mean, KK's at the helm, whether Lucasfilm is owned by Disney or Paramount or, they're not going to just immediately, they're not going to just immediately. And here's the thing, I know people call for her removal quite a lot. Right? There's so many people that say, oh, KK's got to get out. But I'm more afraid of who they would put in. I'll be honest. Like, I'll stick with the devil I know.
2023 kids.
Her contract comes up, so we'll see about that. And I'm concerned about the indie film too. So, but at the bottom line, Disney's never going to sell Star Wars. They're never going to sell Marvel. They're never going to sell Star Wars. So any rumors you guys hear out there, not true.
Tuck them in your pocket. Wait until something happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's a reason I don't have 900 videos on my channel about Star Wars being sold.
Oh God. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, guys, like we have come into this leak culture where like people are putting out rumors or putting out, oh, I heard this or I heard this or I heard that. And, the people that ingest that information take it as fact. Right. And it's people are the dissemination of information.
I never blame the YouTuber. I blame the audience. Exactly. When they say take it with a grain of salt, it means
take it with a grain of salt. Right. Exactly. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much to my entire panel. I want to say thank you to Chris, to X, to Sharon, to Vincent, wherever you may be right now, because he's at a film premiere actually, and Josephine. Thank you so much.